All right, so the table was set this week. So for the last several weeks, we've had a lot of economic reports that have really boded well for interest rates. Starting with a few really tame levels of inflation, followed up by some different economic reports, whether it be consumer sentiment, retail sales, different things like that, showing a little bit of slowness in the economy. Great for interest rates, all led up to this week's really big jobs number. And so earlier this week, we got the ADP payroll report. So ADP, biggest payroll company in the entire world, we were expecting to see 90,000 jobs created, and ADP was showing 33,000 jobs lost. So a huge contraction. We haven't seen a contraction like that in years. So all of these negative reports with the economy, combined with low inflation, combined with less than expected jobs, this week we saw interest rates lower than they've been in the last few months. We're really getting to the point where we could benefit some clients for a refinance. And then today, the all-important BLS jobs report came in. So you've got ADP, biggest payroll company in the world, and you've got BLS, which is more of an institution. And they're both measuring the same thing. They're both measuring, how many jobs were created and what's unemployment at. They use different methods. BLS was expecting 110,000 jobs. And would you believe that the report came out today, they're showing 147,000 jobs. So, the result of with this, BLS being, at least at this point, what's considered a more reliable measure of jobs, we saw interest rates, take a push back up. And so it gets really confusing. You've got one report showing 33,000 lost. You got one report showing, over 100,000 jobs gained. In one of the reports, the ADP was showing that small businesses had lost, I think a total of 90,000 jobs, whereas the BLS was showing that small businesses had created 45,000 jobs. So, what hangs in the balance, of course, is interest rates. And, here we are in this market where, we've had higher elevated interest rates since, mid 2022. And it's something that we've been dealing with, but we've been dealing with it with a lower level of inventory. And now this year, a lot more sellers and, with inventory building and buyers, still lacking that confidence to get into the market. We've seen inventory grow, and we really needed this report to show, more in line with what the ADP report did, and it didn't. So, here we are back in the same place we've been for the last 3 years, just pushing through, waiting for a consistent couple of months of reports that can get us to that meaningful level below 6%. We're headed there. Do we get there next month, the month after? We'll see. Either way, hope you've had a great week. Have a wonderful, safe 4th, and we'll talk to you soon.